Good afternoon. The Effects of Doping and Anaerobic Activities by Kevin Reese. The origin of dope. Dope from Dutch word dope, an alcoholic beverage from grape skins used by Zulu warriors to enhance their power in battle. What is doping? Doping is a drug taken by athletes to improve performance, an anabolic steroid, blood boosts such as erythroid high protein, beta blockers. Why do people dope? There are many reasons why people dope. There are many reasons why people do these things to increase their ability in sports. Sometimes people in sports and do this for training effects, artificial enhancement, exerting therapeutic effect, develop physical physiques that stretch the limits, fame and fortune, also to even cope with stress and injuries. But sometimes pressure from peers, coaches, support staff, families, and media in the nation. When dealing with professional sports, in any type of scenario, any type of way, you always have agencies. One of the biggest agencies in doping is called World Anti-Doping Agency, WADA. Established in 1999, headquarters in Montreal, Canada, 192 countries and more than 570 more sports organizations have signed with WADA. WADA's budget of US 25.5 million shared equally by members of the government and IOC. Over the time in WADA, many famous athletes have got in trouble for doping. One of the famous John Jones, a two-time heavyweight champion of the UFC. Also, another one named Anderson Silva, UFC middleweight champion, that's won millions of times, but also has gotten in trouble for doping. Another one that's really famous is Lance Armstrong, professional road racing cyclist. Armstrong in the 1993 Professional World Championship and won the Tour of France and a record 7 consecutive times from 1999 to 2005. Also got in trouble with doping. One of the most famous cyclists named Tom Simpson also died in 1967 in the Tour of France from collapsing from the use of doping. Have you ever wondered why to combat doping in sports? Well, doping is very crucial in sports. Doping threatens athletes' health. It also threatens the integrity of sports. Athletes are role models for many youngsters, but also we do not want to see younger kids and also older teens that are playing sports use performance enhancement drugs. This is also very crucial to effects of dying on the court, dying in the field, dying anywhere in the sports. Water has a very strong grip on what they do and to help keep the sport secure and safe. Most athletes are victims rather than culprits. Often only the athlete is sanctioned as the weakest link. The athletes in water code acceptance forms has to list coaches, managers, trainers, and even therapists that they use throughout their journey in professional sports. A positive doping test will lead to all being listed and targeted tested. Retests of samples once new methods are available. Urine, blood samples are not preserved for 8 years to identify drugs. So over time, many athletes they begin to basically just after every test they take, everything is recorded, everything is saved to ensure that they're not doing anything different or they're not doing something that's going to harm their body or harm the sport that they're playing in or basically performing in. The prohibited list. Waters receives the prohibited list annually. The res- they revise this list and publish on 1st of October every year and comes into effect 3 months later from the following 1st of January. A. Substance of methods prohibits all times in and out of competition. B. Substance and methods prohibited in competition. C. Substance prohibited in particular sports. D. Specific substance. A substance and methods prohibited at all times in and out of competition. Substance S0, non-approved substance. S1, anabolic agent. S2, peptide hormones, growth forms, factors, and relation substance. S3, beta-2 agonist, ZEPs, cellulose and cellular material. S4, hormones and metabolic moderation. S5, duration and other masking agents. Methods. Method 1, manipulation of blood and blood components. M2, chemical and physiological manipulation. M3, gene doping. These are very important in which prohibiting of all times and also understanding what's going on throughout substance and methods used. B. Substance and methods prohibited in competition. Substances such as similar as form A are very similar in many ways. Dealing with hormones, duration, anabolic agency, non-approved substance, also stimulations of nicotine and catabolic steroids and any other thing that could be very detrimental to the athlete. We focus on this very deeply in sports. Also in water, they focus on basically just trying to figure out what is being used, what is being treated for an athlete to perform at their highest level, but also what should not be treated or what should not be used for an athlete. C. Substance prohibited in particular sports. P1. Alcohol. Prohibited in competition only in following sports. Detection conducted by PREF says blood analysts. Violation threshold is 0.10. There are many sports that could be shown to using this type of method. Motorcycling, powerboating, and automobiles, and many other types of such as anchoring. Beta blockers, P2, in competition only in the following sports: shooting, anchoring, automobiles, billiard, billiards, darts, golf, ski, snowboarding. The specific substance. The prohibit list may identify specific substances which are particularly sustainable and unattended and not doping violation because of their availability in medicine and food products or what are likely to successfully abused as doping agents. These are the three of the main ones that are basically used throughout the substance. Side effects of doping and anaerobic activities are very crucial. Many people don't really know the effects of performance enhancer drugs on the brain, or also any parts of the rest of the body. Premature heart disease, mood disorders, or rage are very important, are very common in doping. Cellular disease, cardiovascular disease, loss of oxygen to the brain can also be very dangerous, would also lead to death. It can also lead to some cancers that many that at this time have not really been told or shown, but are greatly developing in the world of sports and doping. As you look on the chart, you see the effects of performance enhancement drugs on the brain. Increased aggressiveness and sexual appetite, increase in chance of stroke. From based off the side where you see on the right hand side, it has the black part that it gracefully swells and strokes and increase to the side of the brain that also may trigger of anger, mood swings, anything that could affect the body that could cause that person that's in that sport or any type of event that they're doing to lose train of thought or also get very sick. Steroids in men is very, 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 very important because like throughout the doping of throughout the doping of men, there could be many effects: brain brain cancer, depression, violation behavior, yellow of the eyes and skin, bad breath, severe aching, deepening of voice, based off of women, heart attack, stroke, development of breast, breast reproduction in women, liver tumors, liver cancer, nausea and vomiting, kidney disease, abnormal pain, diarrhea, in men testicle shrinkage, imponence, in women irregular menstrual cycles, bruising effects, infections, stunt growth, weak tendons. Based off this man right here, it shows everything that could be done from using doping. Another effect of doping would be in females. From this picture on the right hand side, you see this lady right here. She's basically developed ways of being basically masculine. She's developed ways in which she has lost some of her female type traits. From doing research, the effects of doping, you analyze her skin, acne, oily skin oily skin and hair could really give off the demeanor of what she could be doing in drug usage and also what's coming from it. Hormonally, excessive growth of body hair, scalp hair loss, masculinization, as I said in first at the beginning, decrease in breast size and body fat, voice deepens, damaged female reproductive system, which also drastically and deeply have been considered very big points of how females have turned from using the doping. Discussion. The problem. The problem of doping is one of the most complex issues in modern sports. The use of doping by athletes is not only a threat to their own health, but also undermines the idealistic foundation of sports. The attempt of athletes to enhance their performance in anaerobic activities have devastating effects on their cardiovascular system and general health. The attempt of an athlete to train for anaerobic events already performance puts the organism under significant strain. Even more so when the individual applies doping. As the strain doubles and the threat to the health of the individual is greater, it is also important to consider the moral aspect. After all, the use of doping leads to a disregard of the fair play principle and putting others at a disadvantage. But also with the water, they want to establish a clean, safe, and well organized non doping atmosphere in anaerobic sports, but also in any other sports that's been participating in to keep the sport safe and friendly and secure for all. To keep the sport safe, there are many recommendations that can be done or used. The steps that can be taken. First of all, a clear line between the permit and prohibited means in sports should be determined not by the representation of the anti-doping committee, but on the basis of reasonable agreements between WADA and those states, structures, and public organizations that are directly responsible for the training of athletes. It's the medical and scientific support. Second of all, it's necessary to give the athletes proper knowledge of the scientific basis for development and use of stimulations by placing appropriate focus on certain disciplines: chemistry, biochemistry, physiological, sports, pharmacology, that will help make the athletes understand the consequences of using certain drugs. Third, suggestion that the responsibility of doping should be distributed not only among athletes but also among all medical staff and the national federation. This will allow everyone to bear the responsibility and retrain from the using medications that would enhance performance. Each recommendation that was used basically demonstrates how, what not to do, what to do from straining from getting in trouble from using doping type drugs. Doping type drugs have really over the years has been very drastic. It's caused many athletes to lose their medals, lose their honor, losing their dignity. This is something that many athletes cannot force to take chances in this. This leads to harming themselves, the loss of fans, and the loss of funding for their life. As WADA and many other agencies try to develop ways to basically secure athletes in sports and also make the sport safe, is by telling them what can they do, giving them lists, giving them information that will drastically recommend them to not doing this, not doing that. Some people in sports do not need to take steroids based off it will harm their health. Some people have asthma. Some people have problems in which, like, if they take this type of drug and perform, it could drastically hurt them. Such as been before, as when I said in famous athletes such as John Jones. He actually became an addict off this. He figured that if I do these drugs, I will always stay on top of the food chain. I will always stay beat everybody in the ring. As for Lance Armstrong, he did it basically get a boost. It wasn't really for him to say that, oh, I want to just go out here and cheat and do drugs to help me win cycles, but it was also something to say he wanted to do as a way to help himself stay on top of the knots, just as John Jones. As for Anderson Silva, it wasn't for him. It was just he took supplements that were basically given to him as a sponsorship, but not knowing the circumstance could lead to say like, oh, it's drugs in this, but also it's not what the UFC want us to use. He didn't know that until the time it was for him to take tests or also after competing in sports. Just like at Tom Simpson in his time in the 1969, there were many things that were going on that wasn't drawn up to conclusion. He didn't know as he was pedaling through the Tour of France, he would lose his ability to basically travel and compete in the sport. He just figured, oh, I'll be fine if I do that. I'll be fine. I'll be fine. But come to be, he wasn't fine. He ended up dying on the tour and also losing his life, basically from doping. Doping has really become one of them type of big things in sports that has really took a toll on many people. So WADA and other companies they come together to try to figure out ways to stop doping, to make sports safe, to help everyone live better, have fun, and also make it the sport safe and secure for everybody. For me, my presentation was basically referencing everything that I've learned and also all the knowledge I've obtained from doing my paper, from also doing this presentation. Thank you.